Welcome to the Fast Leader Podcast, where we explore convenient yet effective shortcuts that will help you get ahead and move forward faster by becoming a better leader. And now, here's your host, customer and employee engagement expert and certified emotional intelligence practitioner, Jim Rimbach.
Need a powerful and entertaining way to ignite your next conference, retreat, or team building session? My keynotes don't include magic, but they do have the power to help your attendees take a leap forward by putting emotional intelligence into their employee engagement, and customer-centric leadership practices. So bring the infotainment creativity of the Fast Leader Show to your next event, and I'll help your attendees get over the hump now. Go to beyondmorale.com/speaking to learn more. Okay, Fast Leader Legion, today we have a special episode on this CX Day. What is CX Day, you might ask? CX Day is a global celebration of the companies and the professionals that create great experiences for their customers. It's actually put on by the Customer Experience Professionals Association. And the guest that I have today on the Fast Leader Show was actually a keynote speaker at the Customer Experience Professionals Association's Member Inside Exchange this year in Atlanta, Georgia. And in this interview, Doug Woodard shares a personal story of finding his footing and his voice as an introvert in a sea of intimidating extroverts and dealing with and getting over the hump with an important personnel issue. Doug Woodard is the Managing Vice President of Customer Channels for U.S. Card Operations at Capital One. Doug is responsible for customer contacts across Capital One's U.S. card business, spanning both branded card and partnership card, which is a private label and co-branded card portfolio. The Customer Channels organization delivers on a full spectrum of customer needs, including service, fraud, disputes, collections, and recoveries. In addition, the organization provides critical horizontal support functions as a training, knowledge management, and workforce management group that enables an extensive network. The Customer Channels Operation Network spans 20-plus sites and 16,000 agents in 6 countries, including internal, onshore, offshore captive, third-party suppliers, and work-at-home agents. Specific functions include branded card servicing, high-value servicing, small business and partnership card services, credit, merchant, and commercial operations, along with specialty operations. Prior to joining Capital One, Doug held executive roles at both Staples and Citi, leading extensive customer service operations as well as accountability for the customer experience strategy. Prior leadership positions that Doug held included roles at LL Bean and Accenture. Growing up in upstate New York, Doug attended SUNY Albany for both his undergraduate and master's degrees. Currently, he resides in Raleigh, North Carolina with his wife, Noel, and their college-age daughter. And now, on to the interview with Doug. Okay, Fast Leader Legion, today we have a special guest on the show today from the Member Inside Exchange, which is the Customer Experience Professionals Association member meeting, and we're here in hot Atlanta doing this show. And I am blessed to have on the show today with me Doug Woodard. Doug is the Managing VP of Customer Channels and Card Operations for Capital One. He was born and raised as a military brat, ultimately settling in upstate New York in Hudson Valley, and had some really good memories growing up with his younger brother. Doug, are you ready to help us get over the hump?
I am.
All right. I've given our listeners a little bit about you, but can you tell us what your current passion is so that we can get to know you even better?
Sure. My passion is taking great care of our customers at Capital One and taking great care of my employees, associates, and agents that take great care of those customers.
You know, you said that in a certain order just a second ago, but I just had the opportunity to sit with your keynote, through your keynote, which it resonated with me on so many different levels. But you actually flipped that model. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. Well, you know, one of the things that I believe as a leader is that my job is to take care of the people that take care of my customers. So ultimately, my job is about taking great care of our customers at Capital One and our credit card division. But that means that my responsibility really is about taking care of the people who take care of them.
And I think for us, we kind of know that intuitively, but however, we get too so focused, and you even mentioned it in your keynote, actually doing the task and doing the activities of the business that we lose sight of that.
That's right. It's so easy to lose sight of that. It's so easy to lose sight of purpose and focus on function. I think it's very easy as leaders of any discipline to focus on the function at hand. So you talk about what I do for a living and have responsibility for all of our contact centers, for all of our different kinds of functions. It's so easy to worry about and obsess about that function and lose sight of the purpose. And yet it's the purpose, it's the sense of belonging that the person's doing the work is connected to that's really inspiring and that really unleashes their potential, and that allows us to make amazing customer experiences.
Now, you mentioned something for us that's really important is that inspiration and that passion and that intrinsic drive and motivation. And on the show, we often look at leadership quotes to help us with that, because sometimes they just ground us
and head us in the direction that we need to be going if we aren't going there. Is there a quote or two that is important to you that you can share with us?
Gosh, it's actually hard to narrow down. My team knows that I love quotes and I use them all the time. A couple that come to mind. The first is maybe one that isn't necessarily associated with leadership, but Maya Angelou said people will forget what you did for them. They'll forget what you did. They will never forget how you made them feel. And I'm abbreviating her quote, but I actually think that's a really important leadership quote. When you think about the jobs we have as leaders, and you think about the difference between purpose and function, I really think the power of inspiration is thinking through the responsibility that you have for how it feels to work in your team, your organization, your company, whatever it is you're responsible for. How's it making people feel, both customers and employees? And so that is actually, for me, a leadership quote.
It's a really powerful one, too. And we've had I've had well over 60, 70, 80 episodes, and that quote has actually come up quite common. So it has an amazing impact on a lot of people. So you're definitely in the mix with a lot of others where, you kind of have grounded yourself in that proper meaning, and mindset, and making that huge impact. However, we don't always do that.
No.
And we have humps that we have to get over, and we have a lot of lessons that we've learned within that. Can you share a story about a time where you've had to get over the hump and leading yourself or others?
Sure.
And it kind of helped you?
Well, I think the biggest hump for me has been that I'm actually strongly an introvert. And so very early in my career, it was a little difficult to find my footing, to find my voice, because it was so intimidating, oftentimes being in an environment of people who I assumed, and sometimes later learned they weren't, but I assumed were extroverts, because they're out in front leading and they're able to inspire and engage huge numbers of people. And I would look and marvel and would dream and aspire to want to be one of those kinds of leaders, but would be held back from being an introvert. And needing to find my voice became something that has just been a theme throughout my career, to the point where, I try to be really crisply, very clear about what my leadership principles, what my leadership voice is. But that was really hump for a long time.
So when you start talking about that hump, can you think about a specific time where it kind of met you? I mean, a real story where you have some details and kind of caused you to think differently. And it might not have been at that moment, at that time, but can you think about a time where you can reflect upon?
Sure. Early in my career, I had to make a difficult decision to let someone go who had been with this company for a really long time. This is a couple of companies ago. And she was, I thought, seen as the cultural center of the group. And yet she had made a set of really bad choices, let's say. She had crossed a line of values and principles for the company, not just for me, that there really was no going back. And I really faced a lot of fear in both the act of letting her go as a leader, but then facing the team. And I was relatively new to this company, and wanting to take ownership of the decision. But it was a highly sensitive situation that I could not disclose what had happened. And my fear was that it was going to be seen as a power struggle between me and her. But the reality was there had been some things that were done behind the scenes that, again, were such a clear violation of the company's rules and values and principles that the separation was not questionable. But because of the sensitivity, you couldn't point to that. And I had to go in front of this group that had known her as a leader for a really long time and to own without specifics the decision. And that was a really difficult thing to do. And I faced it with a great deal of trepidation. But I got some great coaching, and at the end just had to be my natural self and exhibit the same care and compassion for the team as I had throughout my brief tenure. And that got me through it.
I think you brought up a really important word that we all have to remind ourselves of, and that is coaching. And that we shouldn't do some of the things that we do in isolation.
Oh, absolutely.
Getting that coaching and getting that support and that help.
That's so true. Without great coaches and mentors, there's no way that I go from being the quiet kid in the back of the classroom to now having responsibility for this huge operation, global operation for, I think, one of the country's biggest and best brands. I'm so honored to have the job that I have. But without that kind of coaching, without people taking time out of their day to help me, to find my voice, to figure out how to be a successful introvert in a world seemingly filled with extroverts, there's no way I would get this job. It's critical. And no matter my job or my title or my responsibility, to this day, coaching, advice, good counsel is a pillar of success. And I couldn't do it without the input of others.
And the Fast Leader Legion wishes you the very best.
Now, before we move on, let's get a quick word from our sponsor. The number one thing that contributes to customer loyalty is emotions. So move onward and upward faster by gaining significantly deeper insight and understanding of your customer journey and personas with emotional intelligence. With your empathy mapping workshop, you'll learn how to evoke and influence the right customer emotions that generate improved customer loyalty and reduce your cost to operate. Get over your emotional hump now by going to empathymapping.com to learn more.
All right, Fast Leader listeners, it's time for the Member Insight Exchange version of the Hump Day Hoedown. Okay, Doug, the Hump Day Hoedown is a part of our show where you give us good insights fast. So I'm going to ask you several questions, and your job is to give us a robust yet rapid responses that are going to help us move onward and upward faster. Doug Woodard, are you ready to hoe down?
I'm ready to hoe down.
All right. So what do you think is holding you back from being an even better leader today?
You know, time. We're all bound by the same 24 hours in a day. There's always constraints on what we want to do, and I think the choices we make with time are really always a challenge.
What is the best leadership advice you had ever received?
Your job as a leader is not to be popular. It's not a popularity contest. You need to lead by values and do the right thing, and realize that the right thing is not trying to win popularity votes.
What is one of your secrets that you believe contributes to your success?
You know, the time that I think I've invested in trying to be always a better communicator, the ability to connect with people in either small formats or large formats and inspire and engage them, I think has been one of the most critical elements of my success.
What is one book that you'd recommend to our listeners, and it can be from any genre?
Good to Great, Jim Collins.
Okay, Fast Leader listeners, you can find links to that and other bonus information from today's show by going to fastleader.net/Doug Woodard. Okay, Doug, this is my last Hump Day Hoedown question. Imagine you were given the opportunity to go back to the age of 25, and you've been given the opportunity to take the knowledge and skills that you have now back with you. But you can't take everything. You can only choose one. So what skill or piece of knowledge would you take back with you, and why?
Well, I think if I could only pick one, it would be that ability to engage and inspire as a skill. I think that has been the thing that has underpinned all of my success and has been the differentiator in my career, not only in terms of my personal success, but more importantly, what's enabled me to help lift others up.
Doug, it was an honor to spend time with you today. Can you please share with the Fast Leader listeners how they can connect with you?
Sure, they can find me on LinkedIn.
Doug Woodard, thank you for sharing your knowledge and wisdom. The Fast Leader Legion honors you and thanks you for helping us get over the hump.
Thank you for joining me on the Fast Leader Show today. For recaps, links from every show, special offers, and access to download and subscribe, if you haven't already, head on over to fastleader.net so we can help you move onward and upward faster.